Finally, we have some new news about everyone's favorite disaster, Starfield. And I am excited. I waited for this so long. I want to see the slop. I want to feel the slop. I want to be one with the slop. Starfield is truly something special to me.
You want proof of my Bethesda mental illness? This is the best video for you, because yes, I'm about to take a single paragraph of text and turn it into a video way longer than it probably needs to be, but I like talking about Bethesda stuff from time to time. And with Starfield, it's a particularly interesting case. But when this news crossed my desk, I told my editor, Dan, I was like, I'm going to hold myself back. I have a lot of thoughts. I'm going to hold myself back. We'll talk about this another time when there's more to pick apart. But then my speculative part of my brain started going, and I went down this rabbit hole, and I went, wait, I have a lot of thoughts now. You know what? Whatever. I'm just going to share them. For those who are interested, here you are. If you're not interested, that's cool. We upload like 50 times a week, so we're good on both ends. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our first Starfield video in a long while. If we're talking like dedicated Starfield video, it's been since Shattered Space, and you already know why. So what's going on with the future of Starfield is a lot of what this conversation is going to be about. So join me in that conversation. Let's talk about it. If you're new here, you're into what's going on with Bethesda, consider subscribing. So the reason why the update on an update is kind of important is because many wondered between the Shattered Space reception and the waning player count, plus Elder Scrolls 6 being up next, if Bethesda maybe overcommitted verbally to the support, and if the business realities were kicking in and they kind of just went, you know what, we wanted to support this for multiple years, but we're actually not going to. It doesn't make sense. We're just going to go ahead and move on to Elder Scrolls 6.
Oh, yeah. Let me actually tell you a quick story about how disastrous Starfield is, okay? Without a doubt, Starfield was one of the most anticipated games of at least Bethesda in a very long time. It's been literally forever since they did something that wasn't a 76 disaster at this point. Starfield, in fact, by the way, is a worse quality product and a bigger disaster, especially financially, than 76. 76 at least makes money. I'm pretty sure that Starfield has less concurrent players than 76. And you know why Starfield is such an absolute disaster? There's a couple of key features a couple of key facts, key statistics that you need to know. First of all, Starfield started off with something like 300 or 500 or however many concurrent players when Starfield released. It was monumental, giant. Microsoft even said Starfield has 20 million something users, and yeah, that's no one cares. They probably lied, honestly, but this matters because this was a monumental thing, and on average, the average player literally quit. 25% of players quit 2 hours in. 50% of players quit 4 hours in if they play this game. And it's all supported by statistics that you see, aka when is the average time a player actually acquires a certain achievement, okay? You know, do the first mission, which roughly takes 2 hours. Well, only 75% of people have that, and so on. So we know that this is true. The drop-off in players is monumental, and the fact that the game is bad is also corroborated by the fact that the Starfield graph looks like this. Whoop, when it goes out, and it's here, and then in literally a week, it's just down there in the negative numbers. Starfield has less players than Fallout 4, than Fallout 76, I'm pretty sure at this point even, which is insane. And obviously than Skyrim. It is a worse Skyrim in every sense. Modders literally called this the worst moddable game in the history of Bethesda, while Todd Howard was lying about how this is the most mod-friendly game they have ever made. You just can't make this shit up, honestly. At this point, Todd Howard's lies are so numerous, we can't even be sure he's a human or he's called Todd Howard. We just don't know if it's true, okay? It is insanity. Furthermore, Bethesda tried to cash in on Starfield in the stupidest ways possible, aka downloadable content. Not expansions. House Maroon is going to be after this. But before House Maroon, they tried to cash in on a bunch of stuff. And this stuff was horrible. This stuff was not even loved by what equates to 10% of the population, even though most of the people got, by the way, Shattered Space and all of these things for free because they bought the deluxe package for Starfield. So they didn't have to even pay for it. Bethesda implemented 2 downloadable quests that both added like 1 weapon or some shit. The other one was some kind of puzzle thing where it literally insulted your intelligence, and if you couldn't actually finish a puzzle, I have to ask how below 90 is your IQ at this point, which was insulting. Both of these expansions were literally 20 minutes long, and they cost $10 each. $10 each! One of the expansions ending was that you get a sniper rifle. That sniper rifle was bugged literally for a month or more, probably more at this point, where you could not reload it. Congratulations, you shot your 5 shots. Congratulations, this weapon, which is the reward of the thing that you paid $10 for, is unreloadable. You can't reload it. Yes, you can't reload it, and it was bugged at least for a month plus. I don't know if it's actually fixed at this point. It has to be, right? And it's just a disaster. And then Shattered Space came. The thing that definitely solidified Starfield as one of the worst pieces of gaming that has ever come out. I did the statistics there. I did the math. With the numbers that Starfield had when Shattered Space released, less than 6% of the players decided that they want to go and play Shattered Space. Less than 10. Yes, less than 10. Less than 6. Less than 6 if we're being specific. 10% of people who played Starfield decided they're gonna go play the expansion. You know how insane that number is? Your average gay worst case scenario has a 20% retains 20% of people who bought the game who will further buy the expansion. On average. Usually it's better than that. But Starfield had less than 6. And that is keeping in mind that the expansion was free for most people because they bought the fucking pack when they bought Starfield, which means it's free. Same with the DLC expansions of the sniper rifle that doesn't work, by the way. It's insanity. It's literal, unquestionable fucking insanity how this works. And, I mean, who can blame them? It was House Varun, the mystical faction of Starfield that people liked because the reality is people liked House Varun because it didn't have any lore to it, because it was just an unfinished piece of content. So the speculations were kind of cool. Oh, they're somewhere in an unknown place of the galaxy. They have a crazy religion. Look at Andreja. She's literally retarded. Wow, they're so special. Andreja doesn't understand human emotion. And so is House Varun. And then you go, you meet House Varun, bam, 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 in literally three minutes of encountering them, now you are their chosen god, the one who's gonna bring peace to the situation. By the way, House Varun is literally socially filled from start to finish with socially retarded people, with customs and beliefs that make literally no fucking sense. For example, in House Varun, it's completely socially acceptable to get pissed at someone and then kill them without any consequences. Yes. Yeah. No consequences. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sure that's not exactly a great building block for society's future. Maybe that's a great thing. It's the end of society when everything goes to shit. But if you want to have a society that functions, you probably shouldn't implement rules that allow literally anyone to kill anyone and then take their shit without any consequences. Because that sounds stupid. But wait, House Varun also needs to be special. And so they have these tattoos literally on their faces for no reason. It's just blocks of tattoos. It's like, it's just random shit thrown at their faces. Is it ever explained why? No. They're also religious zealots. You don't see them being too religious. You don't see them being too zealous. You know, it's bad. It's horrible. It's horrible. Yeah, no one liked Shattered Space, and they're gonna have a minimum of one more expansion because I'm pretty sure this was said by Bethesda. And the thing is, if they don't want Steam to force them to refund people with Starfield, they have to actually make an expansion and put it on Steam. Otherwise, Steam is going to forcefully make them refund people because those are Steam's rules now.
Especially when the last update we got for Starfield was in November of last year. Before that, it was the Starfield Shattered Space release date of September 30th. So it's become increasingly spare. That's to be expected for a single-player game, mind you, but for one that promised years of updates,
that's not to be expected because they have a billion bugs to fix still. The only bug that they fixed was when people understood that they can loot the chest below vendors under the floor, and that Bethesda fixed in literal hours. Bugs that have been permeating through the game for literal months, no, that they're not gonna fix that, okay? But that, when people find something fun and interesting and cool, yeah, they're gonna fix that in literally less than 24 hours, though.
I definitely get why people expected more, or like maybe a year in review, or here's what's coming up in 2025. I think that's a fair expectation from players of the game. Now, I'm about to go down a rabbit hole of ideas I have for what Starfield could be doing, but
I don't know what they could be doing, but again, every time I look at anything Starfield related, I'm just like, holy shit, this is retarded. Look at this place. You have lamps here, you have candles there, you have braziers here, you have braziers on top, you have, like, none of this is real. Why the hell do you have 15 different lamps everywhere? How does this make sense? Why are you burning braziers if there's lamps above? God, I hate this. It's just, none of this seems real. None of this, whoever made it has literal autism. The goddamn Down syndrome.
Now, I'm about to go down a rabbit hole of ideas I have for what Starfield could be doing, but for me, it starts off with the when. Like, when do you actually get these updates? And I think there's two obvious likely candidates. One, I think, more likely than the other. The one I think is more likely is the Xbox June showcase. The other place that you can learn more about Starfield could be the Nintendo Direct. I have personally been predicting a major Xbox presence during that Nintendo Switch 2 reveal Direct, which is not far off now. We're hearing rumors of Halo making the jump to other platforms. Gears is a video we just made this week. That seems to be making the jump to other platforms. And it's all designed to make the next game from all of these companies way bigger than they could have ever imagined. At the same time, the fun conflict of interest when it comes to Bethesda Game Studios is we also have an Oblivion remake rumor floating around. And I also predicted that would be at the Nintendo event. And since we're kind of floating around Oblivion anniversary timing, I don't know if that's going to get a separate announcement outside of the event or something like that. But the rumor was that was hitting in June. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, if Bethesda wants to show up and do a little double feature, I wouldn't hate that. But I don't know why. It's tough for me to imagine Starfield running on Nintendo Switch 2 hardware. But I also feel like the morbid curiosity of just like, does this run well? Might take over for some people, and they might just spring to buy it when it's on sale for that reason alone. But anyway, my prediction is the June showcase, especially because I think ports can be announced at these types of showcases for Xbox now, since they just confirmed in an interview with Xbox Era that moving forward, they're going to have PlayStation imagery, they're going to have Nintendo imagery, they're going to let people know where they can play their games when people are watching their showcases. So I don't know if they're actually going to step out on stage and be like,
isn't everything an Xbox? Isn't my non-electronic pen an Xbox now? Can I play Starfield on this? I mean, everything's an Xbox. Some black girl gamer eating sushi told me that in the commercial. I mean, shit. Oh god, Xbox is such a shit show.
PlayStation fans, we got something for you, but the trailer might end with a PlayStation logo. So that gets me into idea one. Bethesda says in this tweet here, we know you're eager for an update and we truly appreciate your passion for Starfield. The team has been...
By the way, okay, let me explain something about Starfield lore, because who doesn't love Starfield lore? This thing is a Quisets Hederak. Okay, now I'm just tripping off tune, but who honestly gives a shit? Magical space stone in reality that has no real name. It's just called a fucking relic for some reason, and it allows you to pass through dimensions or some shit. No one cares. Anyway, when someone touches it for the first time, which doesn't make a lot of sense, seriously. So the universe is billions, trillions of years old, and you're the first human who touches this, and you get a vision. Okay, shit, damn. You touch it, you get a vision. Congratulations, you're special now. Go become an explorer. And then the first other piece of rock that you find instantaneously, is owned by some guy on Mars who is lost, who uses it as an accessory for his car or some shit, or space car or whatever. And when you touch it, you get a vision. Are you the first person who's touched the thing that another guy is using as a hood ornament? No. But for some reason, you still get a fucking vision. That's how good the lore is. That is how good the lore is.
Bethesda says in this tweet here, we know you're eager for an update and we truly appreciate your passion for Starfield. The team has been hard at work, and while we're not ready to share specific details just yet, we have a lot of exciting things planned for the game this year that we can't wait to talk about when the time is right. We're always listening and taking
the last time that they said that they are hard at work at something, they made the lighting better. And when you didn't actually tell people which is the old lighting and which is the new lighting, people could not actually figure out which is supposed to be the better one. So there you go. That's roughly what you should expect at this point.
Your feedback to heart. Thanks for being part of this journey with us. So let's start off with, I think, objective number one, the shot in the arm. If we're very objective about Starfield, whether you love it or hate it, the player count, I don't think, is where it needs to be compared to other Bethesda Game Studios games. They have set this standard for themselves. It's because they make damn good video games that are fun to go back to over and over and over. Games like Fallout 4, Skyrim, Fallout 3, of course, New Vegas from Obsidian, but still built on Bethesda tech. You have all these fantastic games, Skyrim, that people keep coming.
God, Maddie is such a Bethesda apologist. It's insane.
Back to over and over and over. I think Starfield needs to get to that level before Bethesda moves on, or at least try to do that. I think the PS5 port is step one, especially when you're Xbox and you're looking at ways to count your cash up. You see what we just covered in a previous video of what Forza Horizon 5 has accomplished on the market. And I think that is a stronger example than most of what other Xbox ports can do. I don't think every Xbox port is going to be number one across all of the charts. I do think Forza Horizon 5 was always set to be a massive hit on PlayStation, especially when they have a built-in racing game audience thanks to Gran Turismo. But nonetheless, I do think Starfield would make some waves on PlayStation because all of the updates that we've waited for on Xbox and PC have been included here in this full release on at least PlayStation. So I could see a world where it gets announced on that stage with like the next big update.
All of this sounds horrible.
So the question is, what is next for Starfield beyond just moving it to another system? Because I think this is the real last big shot to define whether or not Starfield gets support for years, or this is the last year of Starfield support, at least in my opinion. So I think it is the great expansion.
They're not gonna, the best part is they're not gonna stop on Starfield. Even though, again, they doubled down on literally everything that people hated with Starfield, which added space and implemented it and said, fuck you, we know better what you like. Turns out they don't. Surprise, surprise, how could that happen? Anyway, they literally said that they are going to support Starfield in the future, that Starfield is going to be one of the new big Bethesda things. It's going to be Fallout, it's going to be Starfield, and it's going to be whatever other slop they have lined up.
That we thought Starfield Shattered Space would be. I'm not the only one saying this. You go ahead and look at like the Steam reviews. The expansion did not go over well with most people. And at best, I hear people saying it's fine. Some people love it. I don't agree, but I'm glad that other people enjoyed it. In fact, as I've said before, I envy them. Now, Todd confirmed with me in my interview that a new expansion
I envy that low IQ
is due out sometime in 2025 for Starfield. So at the very least, we're getting one more. Bethesda already recommitted to a big update sometime this year. Answering what the next expansion should be for Starfield is a tricky question to maneuver, because
I really don't understand how they made anything here. Like, look at this. You have this religious site with candles, but for some reason you're also fucking illuminating with this. It's like, what's the fucking point? What is the point of any of this?
Question to maneuver, because in my head, leading into the launch of Starfield Shattered Space, I was like, this is exactly what the game needs. And
also, by the way, they lied in the trailer so hard. Watch this. You see how they make this look giant? Well, let me explain that's the same location. Yes. Suddenly you understand how small things are in Starfield. Everything is actually super small. That's why they didn't want to add the maps, and this is why we laughed when they added the maps. Because the maps literally are just a dead giveaway of how small and insignificant everything is in this game.
Of Starfield Shattered Space, I was like, this is exactly what the game needs. And I don't know if it's foolish of me to say, try it again, but do better. Like, I think that there were great artistic values, because I do think at least Shattered Space had, like, checked all of the boxes that I'm looking for in a BGS experience, just none of them were done particularly well. So if that's a learning experience for this company that's been around for a long while.
This game is perfect, but it's kind of shit anyway. That's a sentence.
Then we take those lessons and we carry them into another expansion and try that again. Because I can't really think of what else I would want from Starfield other than another planet, another storyline, this one feeling more meaningful. Especially, I think this one could carry on from, I'll just say, where the ending of the main story kind of opens up some possibilities. So that's what I would personally pick, but I don't know if I would shake up the formula here. Like, it's still a great idea to just put us on a planet and let us roam around and get new weapons and whatnot. I just hope that they do all of that a lot better. Now, some people will say, we'll give up and move on to Elder Scrolls 6, but to me, my counterpoint is, I do think Starfield expansion content is really important for the morale of Elder Scrolls 6. And if Bethesda doesn't understand that, then
they do. That's why they're not updating the game anymore. They understood. Like, because seriously, I was talking about this so long before, because I saw it. I saw countless people when Starfield dropped, literally when it dropped, a week later and so on, when Shattered Space dropped. People just constantly commenting, hey, I was a Bethesda fanboy, but I am no longer interested in Elder Scrolls 6, seeing what they did to Starfield. That AI-generated world sucked, and Shattered Space was, by the way, handcrafted, and it sucked arguably even more, in a lot of respects. So, people are so disillusioned with Elder Scrolls 6 at this point. Like, people just don't believe in it. They just don't.
Here I am to hopefully help them understand that, because, you know, I've been part of this community for so long. We connect these dots constantly, so Bethesda needs to start connecting them with us. What I mean by that is, when Starfield was about to come out, people were excited because when you really looked at the broad timeline of what Bethesda Game Studios has done, you had Fallout 4, which for many people was a really great time. For others, it was a great shooter with light RPG elements, and for many, it was a miss. 76 comes up afterwards, and while it's definitely redeemed itself now, when it launched, it's like, okay.
Hell no, this shit has not... Stop lying! 76 has not redeemed itself in any meaningful way whatsoever. In fact, it has gotten worse. Because now you're supposed to start the game at level 20 and given items because the game is just too poorly fucking balanced.
Okay, Bethesda shouldn't do multiplayer. That was their bump in the road. Starfield felt like getting back to basics. We're single player, dialogue centric, questing centric. So hope was renewed. It's a little bit of a different situation now, though, when you do all of the things you're known for doing and people are feeling like you're missing a quality bar now. So I feel like Bethesda needs to have what I call the Far Harbor moment. And yes, if that sounds familiar, it's what I was saying before Shattered Space. You need to have the clapback.
They claim, I almost forgot about this. They claim that Shattered Space is gonna be like Far Harbor. It's smaller, it's worse. Don't even compare it. This is sad.
Moment when people were saying Fallout 4 could not be a deep RPG, Fallout 4 can't support choice and consequence because it's on the creation engine, whatever that means, dude, because the same tech that was used to build the games like that was what we used to build something like New Vegas. But nonetheless, Bethesda had that moment in Far Harbor where they were like, oh, watch this. Here's a strong role-playing experience. And it was fantastic. So I think Starfield needs that for Elder Scrolls 6 morale to be like, relax, we can do that. Why does that matter? Because when I found out the person who directed Far Harbor was then moving on to direct the quest for Starfield, I was excited. And while everyone may disagree, I felt like I got reward on investment there because
all the people who actually worked on Far Harbor or good things in Bethesda, you need to understand, wokeness is a thing that destroys companies from the inside. It doesn't matter even if a company actually has the employees that once did a good thing. Now they are all just corrupt. I don't know what else to call it, honestly. They are just completely culturally destroyed. They are no longer the people who made those good things. Now they are shallow husks of their former selves that can't do anything even remotely close to risky because risky is offensive. And now they themselves believe if that these things that previously were normal are bad for no reason, by the way, even given. And in situations where they actually don't themselves believe these things, people around them do. And if you go out of line, if you dare to go against the grain, you will get punished.
I think they cooked with a lot of Starfield quests. So yeah, I just think at the end of the day, a very strong expansion, even if it's just an optical win, is a...
Bro. They cooked so hard with the Starfield quests that you can join the pirates, but you can't kill anyone. The other guy in the pirate faction tells you 5 times, hey, let's betray the boss, and you can't even tell the boss that he wants to betray you. At the end of the mission, the boss tells you, you're in, Buttercup, now you're an outlaw, and the other guy is out. And the other guy, who is no longer a part of the Crimson Fleet, who has been shunned away in disgrace, literally openly threatens to kill you in front of everyone, and you can't even pull out your gun and shoot him because the pirates are gonna get fucking mad at you. Kill me.
Good thing for Bethesda Game Studios. I think they need it after this last couple of years, frankly. If your biggest win is the recovery of 76, like 6 years after the launch, that's not an L by any means, but I think they'd want Starfield to be in that positive conversation as well.
This is the first actual place you get to do things and shoot things. And it's funny because you see this weapon, it's a BB gun, effectively. And the other one is even a bigger BB gun with 50 ammo. In this first place where you actually get to encounter people by actually flying away and going to a spaceship on the moon or some shit like that. On average, it takes 30 bullets from the 50 bullet thing to kill a level 2 pirate. If it's an elite pirate and has 3 bars, you're gonna run out of ammo before you actually kill them because that's just how poorly the game is optimized.
The question is about investment at a time where game development is so expensive and how far you have to invest to get to that point of turning the corner.
And melee effectively doesn't exist.
You know, when you look at, like, we bring up Cyberpunk a lot, but Cyberpunk needed an anime, consistent DLC, consistent updates, no real going dark outside of like pretty immediately after launch. And then the final expansion in Phantom Liberty was really the icing on the cake. Also, a lot of people point to comebacks in games like No Man's Sky or Sea of Thieves. But I do think it was a different time for gaming, is what I would say. I think with so many great options available, people don't have the patience that they once did to wait around for games to get better over time. The expectation is to be real.
What kind of shitty argument is that? He's effectively saying, oh, if a great game exists and it's getting updated, people are not gonna play it because they don't have patience to wait for it to get good? What? Let me just Google this. Steam DB. What is fucking called? What was that shit called? Starfield Shattered. No? Fuck, I forgot what it's called. But anyway, it has a lot. It has notably more players. This one. I forgot what it's called suddenly. Jesus. But this has way more players than Starfield. People have patience to wait for the game to become good because they don't have to play it while it's shit. Okay? That has never changed. It has always been the same, Maddie.
Expectation is to be really good or at least great at launch and then build on top of that. So the question to me is, if you're Bethesda Game Studios, do you just invest all of this to put Starfield on that level, or do you just move on to Elder Scrolls 6? And I think one's a more wise business decision than the other. So that's just to illustrate the importance of the next Starfield expansion in my eyes. Now, what exactly that expansion holds, I think that is why we've had such prolonged silence on Starfield, because Todd's response to
This looks fun, doesn't it?
Starfield Shattered Spaces reception, I've been critical of it in the past, but it does tell us something when you look at it from a different angle, right? That statement I'm talking about is how they shouldn't have done the buggy in a free update and instead rolled it into Shattered Space.
Yep, Todd Howard, unironically, and Microsoft believed that if they added the buggy to Shattered Space, people would love it. Which is retarded, but okay.
Basically, this to me indicates, whether it's right or wrong, a shift in philosophy at Bethesda Game Studios, potentially, which is that, could we have won them over, even if, say, the exploration's mid, the questing's mid, yada, yada, yada. If the content is king approach, think of past updates for Starfield, right? Quests in the main game, like bounty hunting. Here's Creation Club. They have all the quality of life stuff, like the dialogue camera, the difficulty tuning. They add the buggy.
Quality of life, that doesn't matter. Okay, dude, Maddie is shilling so hard for Starfield. I hope that paycheck is worth. By the way, Bethesda, my soul is for sale, just saying, okay? Anyway, that was Mr. Maddie, 10 out of 10 Starfield, one of the greatest disappointments of all time. Bye-bye.